Welcome to the TOOP+TOOP property investment update for February. Well, the year is definitely off to a flying start with both our leasing and sales teams reporting a surge in tenant and buyer activity throughout the month. With me today is our sales partner Bronte Manuel to discuss it further. Well, Bronte, how's the Adelaide sales market reacted through January?
2019 has actually started off extremely strong. Coming out of Christmas, it's always quietens down a bit. The market kicked on probably mid-January, and we're finding that there is sort of a consistent amount of property coming onto the market, and there's still a huge amount of buyers left over from 2018, which didn't satisfy their requirements.
The Banking Royal Commission is definitely dominating the news at the moment, Bronte. How are you seeing that affecting the market?
There's obviously a lot of talk, James, about the Royal Commission, and what the effects of that are supposed to be is obviously much harder for people to get money. There is a lot of discussion around that. However, with the market being so hot at the moment, most buyers that come to us or come through our opens are already pre-approved for finance. So we don't actually have conditions on contracts which are subject to the finance, and we're not seeing a number falling over because purely and simply people come, they are approved. I would have thought numbers at opens would have declined should there be less people getting approved, but we're still getting really strong numbers. So I genuinely don't know what effect, if any effect, is playing on the market. But then when you look at it on paper, the criteria is much harder. It's much harder to get money, so you think it would. So I think we'll see how that plays out.
Auction clearance rates in Adelaide are running around 50% at the moment. Bronte, what does that look like on the ground?
I think it's too early to tell. That's based on a sample size of 17 auctions. ACT, Tasmania and Northern Territory are running at 100%, all of which have had one auction for 2019. So I do not believe it's an accurate barometer of the market. Just came out the back of a property in Prospect, 34 bids, miles over the reserve, so there's still a lot of heat out there.
Bronte, where do you think the sales market's headed in 2019, and what are going to be the main drivers of that picture?
So coming off the back of 2018, the tail end of it, I could see a little bit of the market or people in South Australia were starting to get nervous of where is the market going? And that was off the back of the media saying that Australia is crashing. But they weren't really saying Australia is crashing, they were saying Melbourne and Sydney are dropping off. And what's quite ironic is as they drop off, we pick up. If you look at all the statistics, look at all the numbers, South Australia is where people are putting the money, and there's investment consortiums which are working with buyers. They charge really large percentages to help them invest money, and they're still buying here in Adelaide. So I believe that we will continue to be the state of choice when it comes to investment, and we'll see a lot more interstate investment. And we've obviously got some big things going on here. So Adelaide, I think we will remain stable, if not have a slight rise. But across the rest of Australia, where there's been some really strong spikes, then I think you may see the market come back. But we're in a good place here.
Thanks very much for your time today, Bronte.
Thanks, James.
The release of the final Royal Commission report into the banking sector and the subsequent expected legislative changes are definitely dominating the news, with the Reserve Bank of Australia again holding rates at 1.5% for a record 30th month. Most economists are now leaning towards the next interest rate movement being a cut in response to the continued easing in the Sydney and Melbourne property markets. Running against a global marketplace where interest rates are expected to rise, the domestic housing picture is sure to see some changes throughout the rest of 2019. Well, that concludes the property investment update for what looks to be a very busy February. We look forward to seeing you again as we head into Mad March and the possibility of an early federal election.